What if the reason your life keeps repeating itself has nothing to do with your effort, and everything to do with a hidden signal you don't even know you're sending? Think about this. A woman sits alone at her kitchen table. The calendar on the wall changes month after month, yet when she looks around, nothing truly feels different. New resolutions, same disappointments, fresh promises, familiar heartbreak. It's as if time moves, but her reality stays stuck, like a song playing on repeat in the background of her life. She has tried everything: vision boards, affirmations, endless nights of prayer. But each attempt feels like decorating the same old room with new curtains. Maybe you know that feeling, the sensation that no matter what you do, life quietly loops back to the same emotions, the same struggles, the same limitations. It's as if an invisible code runs beneath the surface of your days, programming every outcome before you even take the first step. You tell yourself you're manifesting abundance, but your body still vibrates with scarcity. You dream of love, but deep inside, a quiet fear whispers, "I'm not enough." And the field, neutral and merciless, echoes those whispers back with perfect precision. Here lies the mystery no one ever told you. The universe doesn't reward effort, it reflects frequency. Not the frequency you show the world, but the one you embody in silence, when the lights are off, when you're alone with your thoughts, when your heart reveals its truest tone. And this is why life feels like a loop, because without realizing it, you've been rehearsing the same vibration over and over, until it becomes the only song the field knows how to play back to you. But what if that song could be interrupted? What if the very cycle that traps you holds within it the key to your release? The question isn't whether you're capable of creating a new reality. The question is, are you willing to uncover the invisible pattern that keeps you repeating the old one? And once you see it, nothing in your life will ever look the same again. Have you ever noticed how life has a strange way of speaking to you when you least expect it? Not through words, not through explanations, but through whispers hidden in the ordinary moments of your day. You wake up from a dream you've had before, a dream so vivid that it leaves your chest heavy, almost as if it were trying to tell you something. You shake it off, telling yourself it was just a dream. But the same images return the following week, then again the week after that. What are the chances? Why does it feel more like a message than a coincidence? Or perhaps you've had this experience. You glance at your phone and the clock reads 11:11. Later that day, you pass a billboard and see the same numbers. You buy something at the store and the receipt shows a total with those digits again. At first, you smile, maybe even laugh it off. But deep inside, a part of you wonders, why do these numbers keep following me? It's as if the universe is leaving breadcrumbs along your path, daring you to notice that there is a hidden language beneath the surface of reality. And then there are the moments that go beyond numbers. You think of someone you haven't spoken to in years, and within hours, their name appears in your inbox, or you see their face on social media. You feel a sudden wave of anxiety for no reason at all, only to discover later that a loved one was going through a crisis at the exact same moment. It's as though your body knew before your mind could catch up. Your skin prickles, your heartbeat quickens, your stomach knots. You try to rationalize it, but you can't deny the truth. Your inner world is mysteriously connected to something much larger than you. These are not isolated events. They are part of a pattern, an invisible thread weaving through your life, tugging at your awareness, urging you to pay attention. Yet most people dismiss them, chalking them up to chance or superstition. But what if they are neither? What if they are signals, precise, intentional signals from the field itself? Think about how often you feel it in your bones. You walk into a room and instantly sense the heaviness, even before anyone speaks. You meet someone for the first time and feel an inexplicable pull toward them, or a sudden need to step back. Logic has no explanation, but your body reacts as if it already knows the truth. These subtle reactions are not random. They are evidence that your frequency is reading the environment, translating vibrations into emotions, guiding you towards something your conscious mind has yet to see. Now imagine how many times you've ignored those signals. You stayed in a relationship that felt wrong even though your gut told you to leave. You accepted a job offer despite the quiet unease that whispered, "This isn't where you belong." You silenced the inner voice because it didn't fit into the plan, only to find yourself months or years later in the same cycle of frustration, wondering why things never seem to change. The truth is, these coincidences are not accidents. They are mirrors. They reflect the hidden frequencies you carry within yourself, the unresolved wounds, the unspoken fears, the beliefs buried so deeply in your subconscious that you don't even realize they're running the show. And until you learn to interpret them, until you acknowledge that these signs are speaking a language older than words, you remain trapped in repetition. But here's the real mystery. Why does the universe choose such subtle signs? Why not just shout the answer in our ears, leave no room for doubt, remove all confusion? Because the field doesn't operate through force. It operates through resonance. It will never impose, it will only reflect. And reflection is always subtle, like the ripple of water when a stone touches the surface. You can choose to notice, or you can dismiss it and carry on. But the pattern remains, waiting, repeating, until you finally stop and ask, what is this trying to show me? So, when you see the same number over and over, when you wake up from dreams that refuse to fade, when your body reacts without explanation, or when coincidences stack so high they feel impossible to ignore, those are not accidents. They are invitations. They are the universe's way of whispering, look closer. There's more here than you realize. And maybe the deeper question is not whether the signs are real, but whether you are ready to hear what they're saying. So let me ask you this. If the universe has been speaking to you all along through symbols, sensations, and patterns, what truth is it trying to reveal that you've been too afraid to face? There is a hidden law woven into the fabric of existence, a law so subtle that most people live their entire lives under its influence without ever naming it. Ancient mystics whispered of it, prophets hinted at it, and modern science has stumbled upon fragments of it. But you feel it every time life repeats itself like a haunting echo. This is the first great secret, the law of vibrational repetition. Unlike the laws you were taught in school, this one isn't written in books of physics or drawn on chalkboards. It is written inside your nervous system, in the memory of your heart, in the frequency of your soul. It says whatever energy you embody most consistently will mirror itself in your reality, not because it is good for you, but because it is familiar to you. Think about Israel wandering in the desert for 40 years. The promised land wasn't far away, yet they walked in circles. Why? Because their bodies still carried Egypt within them. They were free in form, but not in frequency. And the wilderness became the mirror of that bondage, repeating until a generation had shifted into a new identity. The story is not history, it is blueprint. It shows us that freedom isn't about leaving a place, it is about leaving a vibration. The same truth appears in your life. You pray for love, but your nervous system is still rehearsing abandonment. You visualize abundance, but your body clings to the safety of scarcity. You declare faith, but underneath, fear whispers louder. And the field, the great mirror, answers not to your words, but to your resonance. It listens not to what you demand, but to what you embody. This is why repeating numbers, recurring dreams, or déjà vu moments arrive like clockwork. They are signals, alarms ringing in the invisible, pointing you to the loop you cannot see. When you keep waking at 3:33 in the morning, when you keep crossing paths with the same type of person who wounds you, when opportunities keep collapsing at the final step, It is the law of vibrational repetition at work. The field is reflecting the pattern coded into your frequency. Here is the revelation most people are never told. The field is not cruel. It is precise. It doesn't punish you. It doesn't reward you. It mirrors you with flawless accuracy. And once you understand this, the patterns stop being curses and become maps. Each loop, each repetition is the field showing you. This is the frequency you are carrying. Do you want to keep it, or will you let it dissolve? The ancients called this metanoia, a complete turning of the mind and heart. It is what Christ spoke of when he said, "You cannot put new wine into old wineskins. You cannot embody a new destiny with the old vibration still governing your being." The wineskin bursts and the cycle repeats. This isn't moralism, it is metaphysics. Until the frequency changes, the reality cannot shift. Modern mystics, like those who study quantum physics, describe the same law differently. They speak of coherence. A scattered, incoherent signal cannot override the deep patterns of the subconscious. That is why affirmations spoken with trembling fear don't manifest. That is why positive thoughts repeated on the surface cannot undo the frequencies of trauma etched into your body. The field doesn't hear the words, it hears the vibration beneath them. So what is the hidden meaning of the first great sign? It is this: repetition is revelation. What keeps repeating is not random. It is not bad luck. It is the field holding up a mirror so that you can finally see the unconscious frequency you've been broadcasting. And the moment you see it, the moment you stop running from it and recognize it, you hold the power to choose something different. Imagine this. You are standing before a great mirror that shows not your body, but your energy. What would you see? Fear stitched into your shoulders, resentment hanging like a shadow behind your eyes, or maybe faith flickering like a small flame at the center of your chest. The mirror doesn't lie, it only reveals. And every repeated situation in your life is that mirror extended through reality itself. The Bible says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." Notice, it doesn't say, "As a man thinks in his mind." It says, "in his heart," the seat of vibration, the center of frequency. Because you can declare one thing with your lips and yet carry another in your heart, and the field will always reflect the deeper frequency. This is the first great secret hidden in plain sight. You are not stuck because you lack effort or worth. You are stuck because your frequency has not yet changed. And the repetitions of your life are not punishments. They are invitations. They whisper, "See me, acknowledge me, transform me." Now pause for a moment. Think of the signs in your own life, the dream that keeps returning, the relationship patterns that replay with different faces, the numbers that stalk your days. Can you feel how they are not accidents but messages? Can you feel the law beneath them, asking not for effort but for awareness? This is why I say, the first sign is not a warning. It is a mirror. It reveals that what you call coincidence is coherence. What you call stagnation is resonance, and what you call failure is simply the field responding with perfect fidelity to the signal you have been transmitting. So the real question becomes, if reality is a mirror, are you ready to face the reflection without turning away? If this revelation resonates with you, if you feel the truth stirring in your chest, then take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Not because of algorithms or numbers, but because by doing so, you step into a circle, a community of souls who are awakening to these hidden laws together. This is not just a channel, it is a gathering place, a shared field where seekers learn to read the signs and rewrite their frequency. Now, with this secret revealed, a deeper mystery waits. Once you see the mirror, how do you step out of the loop it reflects? What force has the power to break the repetition and birth a new reality? There was a woman named Rachel. On the surface, her life looked ordinary: steady job, a small apartment, the routines of someone trying to move forward after too many setbacks. But behind the surface, Rachel carried a constant ache. Nothing ever truly changed. Relationships began with hope and ended in the same heartbreak. Jobs promised growth, then dissolved into disappointment. Even the city streets she walked every morning felt like they were repeating themselves, as if she were living in a loop. It started one autumn, when Rachel began waking up at exactly 3:33 a.m. At first, she dismissed it. Maybe it was stress, maybe her body clock was off. But the waking continued, night after night, always at the same hour. And each time, her heart pounded as though something invisible was shaking her awake. She tried lavender tea, meditation, sleep aids. Nothing stopped the rhythm of that midnight summons. Then came the dreams. In them, she stood at the edge of a mirror-like lake. The water reflected not her face, but a younger version of herself. Small, afraid, clutching the memories of wounds she thought she had buried. The reflection would whisper words she could never quite remember upon waking, leaving only a chill that clung to her skin. By day, she began noticing numbers everywhere. On the receipt for her morning coffee, 3:33, on a passing license plate, 3:33. She even saw the digits painted faintly on the side of a delivery truck at a red light, glowing under the sun like a secret message. It reached the point where she couldn't dismiss it anymore. Her body joined the conversation too. A sudden tightness in her chest each time she considered going back to her ex-partner. A surge of nausea when she contemplated signing another contract at a job she didn't love. It was as if her body had turned into a compass, warning her against repeating old choices, but the breaking point came on a rainy night. Rachel had just ended another relationship that mirrored all the others. Charming beginnings, toxic middles, painful endings. She sat on her bed, tears mixing with the sound of rain, whispering a question into the dark. Why does this keep happening to me? And in that silence, something shifted. She remembered the dreams, the lake, the child version of herself. For the first time, she didn't push the memory away. Instead, she closed her eyes and let herself imagine holding that younger self. She whispered, "You are safe now. You don't need to keep reliving the same story." And as she did, her body softened. The ache in her chest loosened. For the first time in years, she felt peace ripple through her nervous system. The numbers, the dreams, the awakenings at 3:33, they weren't curses, they were mirrors. They were signs pointing to the frequency she had been carrying all along. Fear of abandonment, fear of unworthiness, fear of not being loved. The field wasn't punishing her, it was reflecting her vibration with flawless precision. And the moment she recognized it, the cycle cracked. From then on, Rachel began listening to her body. When anxiety rose in her chest, she paused and asked, "Is this the old frequency or the new one I am choosing?" When she saw repeating numbers, she smiled instead of fearing, whispering, "Message received." When the dreams came back, she entered them with courage, seeing the younger self not as a ghost, but as a guide. Within months, everything began to shift. She met new people who mirrored her healing instead of her wounds. Opportunities opened that aligned with her joy instead of her fear. Life didn't change overnight, but the loop broke, because Rachel stopped vibrating like the self she had outgrown. She stopped mistaking repetition for fate and started seeing it as revelation. Now, pause for a moment. Haven't you too had your own version of Rachel's story? The dream that clings, the number that follows, the bodily sensation that warns you. These are not coincidences. They are signals. They are the field calling you to awareness. And here is what I want from you. Share it. Tell me in the comments, what sign has been speaking to you? Was it a repeating dream, a number that stalks your days, a sudden knowing that saved you from a wrong choice? I will read your stories, and in future videos, I may even mention your name and experience, so that this circle becomes more than content. It becomes a community of voices, each signal teaching the others. because the signs you carry are not only for you. They are torches in the dark, illuminating the path for everyone still wandering in silence. So what has the universe been whispering to you? And are you ready to finally listen? The first secret revealed that repetition itself is a mirror, an echo of the frequency you are unconsciously carrying. But there is another sign, quieter and far more intimate, that often slips through unnoticed. It doesn't come through numbers on clocks or dreams in the night. It comes through your own body. This is the second secret. The body is a messenger, and every sensation you feel is a spiritual signal. Think about it. Long before your mind can form words, your body reacts. You walk into a room, and your stomach tightens. You meet someone new, and your skin prickles as though warning you. You consider taking a certain job, and suddenly fatigue weighs on your shoulders. These are not random physical reactions. They are codes. They are the way your subconscious and your spirit communicate truths that your rational mind has not yet caught up to. Ancient wisdom understood this. The Psalms speak of bones trembling with fear, of hearts burning with faith, of strength rising like wings. Across cultures, shamans and prophets describe the body as a sacred compass, a vessel where heaven and earth meet. Modern science echoes the same truth. Your nervous system stores the memory of every experience, translating them into sensations that guide you towards safety or expansion. So, how do you recognize this second great sign? You begin by paying attention to the subtle shifts in your own body. Notice when your chest constricts during a conversation. Notice when a wave of warmth rises through you in the presence of someone kind. Notice the sudden tension in your jaw when you consider making a choice that doesn't align with your true self. These signals are not accidents. They are the field speaking through you, urging you to either pause or proceed. Here lies the hidden meaning. Your body reacts not only to the visible, but to the vibrational. It senses the unseen. When you ignore it, you stay entangled in the loop. But when you learn to listen, you step into coherence, the alignment of thought, feeling, and frequency. Now let's make this practical. Here is a technique you can begin right now. Pause and scan. The next time you face a decision, big or small, stop for a moment. Close your eyes if you can. Breathe deeply 3 times. Feel the body's answer. Imagine saying yes to that decision. Notice how your body reacts. Do you feel a tightening, a heaviness, or a sense of collapse? That is your body signaling no. Do you feel lightness, expansion, warmth, or a subtle relief? That is your body signaling yes. Honor the signal. Even if it doesn't make sense logically, take the body's response seriously. The subconscious reads frequencies long before the conscious mind catches up. This is not about superstition, it is about resonance. The body becomes incoherent when your choice doesn't align with your true frequency. It contracts to warn you, and it expands when the path is aligned, even if the mind resists. Rachel, the woman whose story you heard before, learned this. After her awakening at 3:33, she began practicing this technique. She described how one day she was offered a job that looked perfect on paper. More money, more prestige. But when she imagined saying yes, her chest tightened, her breath grew shallow, and her stomach knotted. She almost ignored it until she remembered the second secret. She declined the offer. Months later, she discovered the company collapsed in scandal. What looked like loss was protection. What felt like intuition was the body reflecting the truth her mind could not yet see. The second secret is empowering because it shows you that you don't need to chase external signs. You are the sign. Your body is the sacred text written in flesh and blood, constantly whispering guidance. The real question is, are you listening? And here is the encouragement I want you to hold close. You don't need years of study or mystical rituals to access this wisdom. You already carry it. The key is awareness. The technique of pausing, feeling, and honoring may seem simple, but simplicity is often the doorway to transformation. Each time you practice it, you tune your frequency closer to coherence. Each time you honor the body's whisper, you dissolve a piece of the old loop. So pause for a moment right now. Place your hand on your chest. Breathe. Ask yourself, is the life I am living aligned with the vibration my soul longs for? Notice the answer, not in your mind, but in the subtle sensations of your body. That is the field speaking through you. But here's the mystery. The body's signals, as powerful as they are not the deepest layer. There exists a third sign, more hidden, more profound, one that almost no one speaks of openly. It is the signal that doesn't just guide your choices, it reveals your destiny itself. And once you understand it, the entire architecture of your reality begins to shift in ways that feel nothing short of miraculous. What is this hidden sign that lies beneath the dreams, the numbers, and even the whispers of your body? There is a sign deeper than dreams, beyond numbers, beyond even the whispers of your body. It is the most intimate and the most sacred, and yet it is the one almost everyone overlooks. Because it doesn't appear outside of you, and it doesn't arrive as a sensation to be interpreted. It rises from the core of your being like a voice without words, a presence without form. This is the third great sign, the alignment of your inner silence. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is resonance. It is the place where the noise of thought dies down, and what remains is not absence. It is the pure signal of who you truly are. The ancients called it the still, small voice. Mystics called it the breath of God. Physicists describe it as the zero-point field, the background hum of the universe, where all possibilities exist in potential. And yet, they are all speaking of the same mystery. Beneath everything, there is a frequency that waits, unshaken, timeless. Here is the revelation. When your inner silence changes, your entire reality reorganizes. Dreams may point, numbers may hint, the body may guide, but the deepest shift happens when your silence, the vibration of your being when nothing is distracting you, becomes coherent with your highest self. That is the moment the loop dissolves. That is when the universe bends. You know this silence. You've touched it in fleeting moments, when grief strips everything away and all that remains is a raw stillness in your chest. When joy overwhelms you so completely that words disappear and tears become your only prayer. When you stare at the night sky and feel both infinitely small and yet utterly eternal. That silence is the womb of creation, and it is speaking to you. Most people run from it. They fill it with noise, scrolling, talking, rushing, because silence confronts them with the truth they don't want to face. But the truth is, silence never accuses. It only reveals. It reveals what you are still holding on to, what you are still afraid to release, what you are truly ready to embody. And once you allow yourself to stay in that silence, without running, without numbing, the deepest sign emerges. You feel the shift, not in thought, not in sensation, but in being. This is why the psalmist wrote, "Be still and know that I am God." Not work harder, not try more techniques. Be still, because stillness is the portal through which your frequency aligns with the divine itself. And here is something I need to say to you from the heart. What you're hearing now, this teaching, this unveiling, it is not created for profit, not for numbers, not for fame. It is offered with passion, with love, as a seed for your awakening. So if this resonates, I ask you, support this work, subscribe to this channel, like this video. Because every single act of support strengthens this community, not as an audience, but as a circle of souls walking the same path. Your presence here is what gives life to this message. Now, return to the silence. Imagine it right now. close your eyes and feel the pause between your breaths. That pause is not empty, it is full. It is the eternal ground where new realities are born. And here lies the greatest mystery. Your silence is the field. When you anchor a new vibration in stillness, creation itself responds. Not tomorrow, not someday, immediately. Because silence is timeless. It is outside the clock. It is the place where eternity meets your present. This is why saints and mystics across ages spoke of contemplation, prayer, meditation, not as rituals, but as doorways. They knew the secret. You don't manifest by doing more. You manifest by becoming still enough for the true frequency to emerge. And when it emerges, the entire universe rearranges around it. The climax of this revelation is almost unbearable in its beauty. You are not waiting for a new reality to arrive. You are the silence from which it emerges. And when you embrace that truth, even for a breath, life cannot stay the same. But here is the question that hangs in the air like electricity after a storm. Once you have touched this silence, once you have felt the truth vibrating through you, what will you do with it? Will you return to the loop, or will you step into the freedom it offers? Because the silence does not just guide your choices, it reveals your destiny. And what it shows next is a secret few dare to face. All along this journey, you've seen that nothing in your life has been random. The dreams that repeated, the numbers that followed you, the sudden whispers of your body, the silence that held truths too deep for words. Each was a thread. And when you weave those threads together, what appears is not chaos, but a tapestry of guidance. A secret language of the universe, patiently waiting for you to listen. Perhaps for the first time, you can look back at your own path and see it differently. That heartbreak that felt unbearable, was it only pain? Or was it the mirror reflecting an old frequency you were ready to release? That moment of synchronicity that startled you, was it chance? Or was it the field whispering, this way? Even your nights of silence when you felt alone and unanswered were not emptiness. They were doorways. They were proof that your spirit was preparing you to awaken. The truth is, these signs are not punishments, not games, not cosmic accidents. They are invitations. They are the divine, the field, God Himself, whichever name resonates most with your heart, reaching out to awaken you from repetition into creation, to remind you that you were never meant to live in endless loops, but to step into the frequency of your future self, the self who already exists, radiant and whole, waiting for you to align. So now the question shifts. It is no longer, why do these things keep happening to me? The question is, what will I choose to do with what has been revealed? Because awakening is not about knowing more, it is about becoming more. It is about embodying the love, the coherence, the stillness you've glimpsed in these signs, until your entire life becomes the mirror of that new vibration. And here is the beauty. You are not walking this path alone. Every soul drawn to this message, every person who has felt these signs in their own life, is part of a living community, an invisible circle of seekers who are learning to hear, to see, to awaken together. That is what makes this space sacred. So I invite you, with all my heart, be part of this circle. Subscribe to this channel, not as a number, but as a soul choosing to walk with others. Like this video, not as a click, but as a gesture of resonance, an echo of yes to the path you are on. And most importantly, leave a comment below with your name and your city, because in the next video, I want to greet you, to speak your name out loud, to honor your presence in this journey. Imagine this community as a fire, and each name, each city, each voice adds another flame. Together we shine brighter. Take a deep breath. Feel it in your body now. The signs have always been speaking to you. They were never outside of reach. They were never beyond your capacity to understand. They were waiting, patiently, faithfully, for this moment. So let today be the day you stop repeating the old reality. Let today be the day you recognize the mirror, listen to the body, honor the silence, and step into coherence with who you were always meant to be. Because the loop ends, not when the world changes, but when you do. And the field, faithful, timeless, will always respond. Remember this, you are not a prisoner of fate. You are a creator of frequency. And every breath, every choice, every heartbeat is an opportunity to align with the life you were born to live. Leave your name and your city in the comments below, subscribe and like this video, because your voice matters, your presence matters, and together we will continue unveiling truths that can transform not only your life, but the world around you. The signs have awakened you, but there is still a deeper mystery waiting, a revelation that will stretch beyond anything you've imagined. And when it arrives, it will not only speak to your mind, it will awaken your very soul.